We now bring you a live debate this evening between the candidates of this year's Tennessee Senate race. Democratic Congressman Harold Ford faces off with former Chattanooga Mayor, Republican Bob Corker. They're vying for the seat of retiring Senator Bill Frist. A recent poll shows Corker leads Ford 43 to 42%, a virtual dead heat. This live coverage is courtesy of WREG-TV in Memphis.
I want to welcome you to America Votes 2006 coverage on News Channel 3, on your side to help you make an informed decision in this election year. Continuing our series of debates tonight with the Democratic and Republican nominees for the U.S. Senate seat that's being relinquished by Majority Leader Bill Frist. Hello, I'm Richard Ransom.
And I'm Claudia Barr. We're your moderators tonight. In addition to our Mid-South viewers, we want to welcome those of you joining us from other parts of Tennessee and around the country, either on the internet or the national cable audience that's watching tonight. Let's introduce the participants in tonight's debate.
Congressman Harold Ford Jr. from the 9th District of Tennessee is the Democratic nominee on the November ballot. Mr. Ford had light opposition in the primary, currently in his 4th term as a member of Congress, winning that office first in 1996. Mr. Ford lists education, affordable health care, energy, self-sufficiency, and a balanced budget among his top priorities. We want to welcome Congressman Ford.
Bob Corker won his place on the Republican side of the November ballot with a victory over 2 former Tennessee congressmen. Mr. Corker is a successful businessman, grew up in Chattanooga, and was elected mayor of that city in 2001. Some of his priorities include putting government on a financial diet, keeping American families safe with secure borders, and supporting the military and their families. We'd like to welcome Mr. Corker.
Now, let's introduce our panelists who will be asking questions of the candidates tonight. Norm Brewer is political commentator for WREG-TV News Channel 3. Otis Sanford is managing editor of the Commercial Appeal, one of our media partners, by the way, in many of the things we do here. And Halima Abdullah is political reporter for the Commercial Appeal.
And during each round of questioning, I'll be introducing a member of our studio audience, except for some guests selected by the 2 candidates. Everyone else here represents a cross-section of undecided voters. And quickly, while we're on the introductions, we must identify our media and community partners besides the Commercial Appeal: Comcast, Impact Memphis, and the Memphis Urban League Young Professionals. All are playing an important part in tonight's debate.
Our ground rules tonight are pretty simple. Our goal is to hear what these candidates have to say about the issues and why we should vote for them. Each will have opening and closing remarks. Their order of appearance has been determined by an earlier drawing. In answering the rotation of questions in each round, a candidate will get 1 minute to respond. His opponent will then get a minute as well, and then the first candidate gets an automatic 30-second rebuttal. Each candidate will be given time cues off camera so that they know when their time is about up, and it is my job to make sure the candidates stick to the clock. And let's get started with the opening remarks from our candidates. Now, each will have a minute and a half, starting with Bob Corker. Mayor Corker.
Well, thank you. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to debate. My heart goes out to this community. I did visit the church today and know that that's been a big part of your history, and I know it was going to be a big part of your future, and I hope to have the opportunity as United States Senator to work with you as you continue to build this great city. I went to public schools in Chattanooga, started working when I was 13 years old. When I'd saved $8,000 after graduating from UT, I went in business, built a business with my hands that operated in 18 states around the country. After returning from a mission trip to Haiti, I led the creation of a nonprofit that's helped over 10,000 families in Chattanooga have decent, fit, and affordable housing. And as Commissioner of Finance for the state of Tennessee, working with others, we created one of the best welfare reform packages in our country, taking our rolls from 96,000 down to 57,000. As mayor, we streamlined our city's government. We put $2.1 billion worth of investment revitalizing our city, used teacher incentives to drive up educational achievement, and we reduced violent crime by 51%. All my life, I've been here in Tennessee solving complex problems. I believe our country faces some of the most complex problems in my lifetime. I want to take that ability to solve problems to Washington. Our country has always risen to the occasion to make sure that the next generation is better. And that's what I want to do in the United States Senate. Thank you very much.
All right, now Congressman Ford.
Welcome, my friend Mayor Corker to Memphis. We're delighted you're here. To those sponsoring and hosting this thing tonight, thank you, and Richard and all y'all and all of those who've sponsored tonight. You're right, Mayor. The last 36 hours have been amongst the most difficult we've faced as a city and as a community. I talked with Pastor Wagley, the pastor of First United Methodist. Obviously, all of our prayers go out to her and her congregants and all of this city as we mourn and grieve. But as I shared with her and she shared with me this evening, she said this is a time to celebrate. It's a time to celebrate because our community will come together again. I think about what else has happened in the last 36 hours in this community. Memphis was named home to a company called Nucor, producing steel, Mayor Corker, that is most of it, about 70% of it's produced outside of the country. Here we are bringing 250 jobs to this city about. Average pay about $70,000 a year, good thing. Then I left there and went on over to Milagro Biofuels, which really I think speaks to the future. An opportunity to find ways not only to win wars on terrorism, but to create jobs and embark on a new era of environmental responsibility. My bus and my pickup truck runs on biofuel, biodiesel to be exact. It shows the power when people come together and want to work together. My God tells me that He didn't give us the spirit of fear, He gave us the spirit of love and hope and mercy and sound mind. I hope tonight that you and I can have a discussion predicated on those principles and have a conversation about how we can make government matter more for people who get up every day and work in this community and work all across this state.
All right, thank you, Congressman Ford. We begin our first round of questions now with Norm Brewer of News Channel 3. He leads us off, and his question will be directed to the Congressman.
Congressman Ford, a two-part question, if you please. Had you been in the U.S. Senate at the time, would you have supported the nominations of John Roberts and Samuel Alito for the U.S. Supreme Court? If not, why not? And if so, are these the sort of conservative jurists you would expect to support in the future?
I spoke on both of those, Mr. Brewer, when the matter came up. I would have supported John Roberts. I would not have supported Alito. I thought Roberts brought a combination of intellect, experience on the bench, and an open-mindedness, and understanding that little people, big industry, special interests, and small interests all have a day in court. I would not have supported Mr. Alito for those reasons. As I looked at his record and surveyed it a little bit, it was clear to me that every time an opportunity presented itself to side with special interests or big interests when he was on the court, and this is not a statement about the kind of person he is, but when he was presented with these facts as a jurist, he always sided with the big guy. And I got to tell you, I like the little guy too much to always side with the big guy.
Mayor Corker?
I would have. I didn't see that in Judge Alito. I saw two jurists that had the background of being constitutionalists. They were people who do not try to legislate from the bench and create new laws. There were people who interpret the Constitution. So much of what's happened in our country recently has happened because we've lost the balance of power. We have the executive branch, we have the legislative branch that we both are pursuing to create laws, and then your judicial branch. The judicial branch has been active, it's been doing things that are beyond just interpreting the laws that are on the books, and I think we do need jurists like the two that were just mentioned, jurists that will interpret the laws that are on the books, and I would have voted for both of them.
All right, thank you, Mayor. And Congressman, you get 30 seconds to rebut.
Yeah, I just think when you're picking a jurist, you're not looking if they came from a certain party or if they were nominated by your president. You look for who's best for the country. I've tried now for 10 years in the Congress to do nothing but that. I take on Democrats when I think Democrats are wrong. I take on Republicans when I think they're wrong. When President Bush wanted to sell our port to the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Corker, I opposed him. When he wanted to go and find bin Laden and destroy the Taliban, I supported him. We still got a little work to do on that front, but I support the president when he's right, and I won't support him when he's wrong.